Matt Riddle confirms he is no longer with WWE after being released by the company. Details surrounding his release and how he burned through too many chances, according to backstage reports. LA Knight was scheduled for a big segment last night on SmackDown, but was pulled at the last minute. Details as to why. The Elite are the brand new Ring of Honor six-man tag team champions after winning the titles last night on Rampage Grand Slam. A big trios match is set for WrestleDream with Kenny Omega teaming up with Chris Jericho and Kota Ibushi. Io Sky retains the Women's Championship on SmackDown. Vince McMahon reportedly never viewed Dolph Ziggler as a top star, leading to his WWE release. Elimination Chamber next year is going to be in Australia, but it could mean a very early start time for fans in the United States. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn returned last night on SmackDown, and more details surrounding Mustafa Ali's release and how a certain vignette got a lot of people concerned in WWE. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And let's start off talking about Matt Riddle, because just before SmackDown last night, it was reported by WrestleVotes that there was going to be one more talent release coming this weekend. Now, they didn't give specifics, but just 8 minutes later, it was confirmed by the man himself that Matt Riddle is gone from WWE. In a statement released on Twitter, which we can actually get on the screen right now, Riddle confirmed his departure. He said, quote, "Just wanted to inform everyone that I'm no longer with WWE. Thank you for the memories and opportunities. Also, thank you to all the fans for all the support and love you give me every time I go out to the ring. See you all soon." As I mentioned, this was a statement that was released on social media. Riddle announced his departure and thanks fans for all of the memories. The move follows mass talent cuts by WWE on Thursday, when the promotion released at least 22 stars or possible stars in the way of its acquisition by Endeavor and the merger with UFC. Riddle, of course, himself is a former UFC fighter, began training as a professional wrestler almost a decade ago, and signed with WWE in 2018. Over the course of his career, he won the NXT Tag Team Championships with Pete Dunne, now known as Butch, the Raw Tag Team Championships with Randy Orton, and also the WWE United States Championship. His WWE run was also characterized by prominent accusations against him during the Speaking Out movement, his real-life feud with Seth Rollins, his multiple drug suspensions, also real-life feuds with the likes of Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, and others. Obviously, when it comes to his suspensions, the most recent of which came in the 2022 year, resulting in him being removed from television. Riddle returned to Raw after WrestleMania 39, but with a somewhat diminished role in the absence of his injured tag team partner, Randy Orton. Now, Riddle made headlines earlier this month for an incident at JFK Airport and hadn't been seen on television since then, despite reports that his absence was not related to the airport altercation and that he was making his return to Raw this week. It's now being reported that that was never the case, because we do have more details surrounding Matt Riddle's departure from WWE. And according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Matt Riddle wasn't around backstage in WWE even prior to his release. Fightful Select has confirmed that, contrary to rumors last week, former tag team champion Matt Riddle was never planned for the September 18 edition of Raw. One source that Fightful spoke to said the rumor likely emerged from outdated information and that he was never in the creative plans for the show. Riddle had been off the road from WWE since alleging that an officer at JFK Airport had sexually assaulted him, leading to an internal investigation by the Port Authority. Riddle was removed from the September 11th edition of Raw and taken off the road by WWE. He was, according to Sean Ross Sapp, never planned for a return. Those that Fightful have spoken to have claimed since then Riddle was not factored into immediate creative plans. He was doing some major grappling training per usual this week and was said to be in good spirits prior to his release. However, one WWE higher-up said that he burned through too many chances while in WWE, hence why he had departed away from the company. So let me know your thoughts about that. Let me know your thoughts about Riddle's departure. Let me know your thoughts about him being release, as well as the other talent cuts as well. Do you think this was the right move by WWE? Do you agree with the backstage chatter that he had just burned through too many chances and there was too much controversy surrounding him? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. Now, LA Knight, some details on why he missed SmackDown last night and actually what was originally planned for the megastar. While with the initially reported show run sheet noting that there would be a contract signing in the main event of SmackDown last night, it was going to involve a surprise from Knight to aid John Cena as he was attacked by Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso of the Bloodline. However, on television, when the Bloodline just really beat up John Cena, ending the episode standing tall rather than any assist from anyone else on the roster, clarification came swiftly thereafter. Clarifying that the change in plans was reportedly not due to Vince McMahon after the show went off the air. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful tweeted, quote, "Originally, LA Knight was listed as being involved in tonight's contract signing. Knight was listed as a surprise to help John Cena. He was also internally listed as teaming with Cena in a dark match following the show. We're told this was not a Vince McMahon change, it was medical related." Sapp then explained on a live stream by saying, quote, "He tested positive for COVID right before the show. I mean, like right before the show, and unfortunately had to leave the building." Originally announced was a contract signing segment for a Cena and AJ Styles versus Uso and Sikoa match at Fastlane. However, the Bloodline attacked Styles backstage, which meant he was taken out in an ambulance, which likely would have paved the way for Knight to come out as his replacement. Instead of Cena teaming with Knight as planned, the dark match for the crowd after the taping went off the air was John Cena taking on Montez Ford in a singles match. So that's what happened. So we don't know again if they're going to basically do the same angle next week, or they're going to have a situation where Knight maybe next week or the week after challenges or challenges the Bloodline, or is John Cena's partner, something like that. But the plan was last night that LA Knight was going to have this big moment where he came out as Cena's tag team partner and signed the contract, but that couldn't happen due to testing positive for COVID. Now let's switch gears here and talk about Rampage, and the Rampage Grand Slam show saw a title change when a Ring of Honor title was on the line. The Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Championship was on the line when the champions, the Mogul Embassy, Gates of Agony, Toa Liona and Korn and Brian Cage faced off against the Young Bucks plus Hangman Adam Page of the Elite. With Page's opponent for WrestleDream, Swerve Strickland, looking on, the Bucks and Page held on throughout the match, with Hangman Adam Page hitting a double buckshot lariat on the Gates of Agony and a deadeye on Brian Cage. Swerve's WrestleDream opponent almost took out the entire faction single-handedly. While Cage would kick out, he ultimately would fall to Hangman Adam Page roll-up, as the Young Bucks and Hangman Page are the brand new Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Champions. So a title change on the show. Let me know your thoughts about this. Do you care? What do you think it means for the Ring of Honor Six-Man Tag Team Championships? Are the titles pretty redundant? Are they going to have any appearances on Ring of Honor television moving forward? Let me know your thoughts about that too in the comment section below. Our big match has been set for WrestleDream involving former rivals Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. While the in-ring action was able to be spoiled, obviously for last night's show, it was filmed on Wednesday after Dynamite Grand Slam, Rampage still held some surprises, including a follow-up backstage segment which expanded on the in-ring angle between Chris Jericho and the Don Callis family. With Sammy Guevara in the ring to explain the betrayal of his mentor, Don Callis and Konosuke Takeshita were also on hand. However, when Chris Jericho came out to confront Guevara, instead, he was attacked and nearly stabbed with a screwdriver as Callis stood over him, poised to strike. That was until Kenny Omega appeared, running out with a steel pipe to chase away the family and aid Chris Jericho. In a backstage segment, Alex Marvez remained the true king of scoops, approaching the former rivals Omega and Jericho to get a better understanding of what had just gone down in the ring. By the end of the segment, Omega and Jericho had issued a major challenge. Omega, Jericho, and Kota Ibushi want to take on Sammy Guevara, Konosuke Takeshita, and a mystery third tag team partner at AEW WrestleDream next weekend. Who do you think this tag team partner is going to be? Let me know your thoughts and predictions in the comment section below. Is it going to be a New Japan wrestler? Is it going to be another member of the Don Callis family? Let me know your thoughts and predictions. Now, going back to SmackDown last night, Io Sky is still the WWE Women's Champion, and a bout that was touted as a dream match for those throughout the world in the first half of SmackDown. WWE Women's Champion Io Sky retained the title against the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka. With not only Damage Control but also Charlotte Flair ringside, there was bound to be interference in the bout, and there was, but the match did end decisively with Sky getting the 1-2-3. The women went back and forth with high-flying maneuvers throughout the match, knocking each other out of the ring at different points in the contest. Asuka hit a superplex on Sky, who kicked out. Sky answered with a missile dropkick, while Asuka was positioned on the top turnbuckle, sending the challenger flying to the floor. Asuka was able to get the champion into multiple submission maneuvers in the middle of the ring as the match went on, but Sky powered out of all of them with a little help from Bayley on the last one. The Damage Control leader put Sky's foot on the rope behind the referee's back as the champion was trapped in the Asuka lock. Right as the referee turned to notice, Charlotte Flair attacked Bayley, evening the odds, but Sky was able to capitalize with a double knee strike followed by the over the moonsault on the challenger to get the pin and retain her title. One of the big names released this week, of course, was Dolph Ziggler from WWE, and it's a bit more of an update on the perception of the former World Heavyweight Champion in the eyes of arguably the most important man in WWE, that being Vince McMahon. WWE's latest round of talent releases has sent shockwaves through the company, and none more impactful than the decision to part ways with Dolph Ziggler after nearly 2 decades. The 43-year-old had been a fixture of WWE programming since his main roster debut in 2005, working as a golf caddy for Chavo Guerrero before coming part of the Spirit Squad, feuding with D-Generation X on Raw, and then another stint in developmental. He returned to the main roster in 2008 as Dolph Ziggler, having a phenomenal run with the promotion, winning the world title on 2 occasions, wrestling more matches than almost anyone in WWE history. Despite being over with the fans and regarded as one of the best workers in the world, Dolph Ziggler never received a sustained push in the main event scene. According to Dave Meltzer in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, Ziggler was never held in high regard by Vince McMahon, and even when giving Ziggler the World Heavyweight Championship on 2 separate occasions, McMahon reportedly told the WWE creative team that it was only short term, and Ziggler was not considered to be a top guy. Ziggler reached the mountaintop right after WrestleMania 29, successfully cashing in his Money in the Bank contract to defeat Alberto Del Rio to a huge pop. However, an untimely concussion sidelined Ziggler and seemingly put an end to his push before another taste of main event glory came at Survivor Series in 2014 that saw the show-off remain the lone survivor against the Authority, largely thanks to a big assist from Sting. Following his release, Ziggler, real name Nick Nemeth, has immediately been fancy booked for a run in AEW, where his younger brother Ryan is currently signed. So what are your thoughts on Vince McMahon's perception? Was Vince McMahon right? What do you think when it comes to Ziggler next? Do you think he's going to go to AEW, or do you think he's done with wrestling and he's just going to be focusing on his career in stand-up comedy? Let me know your thoughts about that too. Our Elimination Chamber this week was announced to be taking place in Perth in Australia, but those pesky time zones are likely to affect when American audiences are able to watch next year's Elimination Chamber. Of course, WWE is heading to Perth in Australia in February to hold the annual event, and because of time difference, it may mean an early morning for WWE fans hoping to see the action live. Per the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WWE plans to hold the show during primetime hours in Australia, putting it on the air around 6 a.m. Eastern in the US and 3 hours earlier for those that watch on the West Coast. Some had hoped that WWE might follow the UFC approach, as when the MMA brand has run events in Australia in the past, they were scheduled to hit American airwaves at around 10 p.m. Eastern, but that would require moving a morning start time down under. With WWE doing more international events over the past year, the company has had to be flexible with show times, but with less concern about the shows being watched live in the moment because of Peacock, as viewership after the fact on delay has picked up, and with local governments cutting sizable checks to WWE in order to attract such events, WWE is willing to do whatever it takes to make sure hosting the areas get their money's worth. Again, it's not about pay-per-view buys anymore because they've already got the money from Peacock and they get the money from the local government, so when it comes to the times, they don't particularly care that much. And does it bother you? I mean, where are you from? Are you in the US? Does it bother you? If you're in the UK, it doesn't really affect you that much, really. If you're in Australia, it's perfect for you. Let me know your thoughts and where you're from as well. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, they made a surprise return last night on SmackDown as well. After being off television since losing the claim to the Women's Tag Team title in a unification match against Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey back in June, a tag team returned last night with Isla Dawn and Alba Fire appearing in a vignette. They seemingly took storyline responsibility for the string of difficulties experienced by the Women's Tag Team Championships, showing images of Sonya Deville, Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler, Piper Niven experiencing pain. They asked who could conjure a spell so powerful. With the spooky duo making their return just in time for Halloween hijinks, hopefully we are set to see more competition heat up in the women's tag team division, so Isla Dawn and Alba Fire taking credit for the curse. Not bad. Finally, Mustafa Ali was another name that was released by WWE this week, and actually there's some details as to maybe why WWE were leaning towards actually releasing him. Now, WWE had its latest batch of talent roster cuts this week when 22 stars from across the main roster and NXT were released from their contracts. While a good chunk of talents let go during the cuts had not really featured on television in recent months, one name who is in rather a prevalent role, particularly on NXT, was Mustafa Ali. He was scheduled for an NXT North American Championship match with Dominic Mysterio at NXT No Mercy just next Saturday. Despite Ali being featured heavily on NXT, he was let go from his contract this week, and we may have more information as to why he was so suddenly released. Per Nick Houseman of House of Wrestling, one WWE source said that they did not believe that Ali was ever going to get the opportunity to really shine in the company, noting that they were not really sure why that would be the case. Those that spent time around Ali during his NXT run said that he was always upbeat and smiled, even though some could tell he was unhappy with his position, with one person describing him as the ultimate pro. It was also noted that from what was gathered, Ali was not totally caught off guard by his release from the company. One possible reason that was given for his release was his recent politically charged vignette on NXT television, where he campaigned to become the new North American champion. This shift in character had been pitched by Ali while on the main roster, but it was never followed through on, with Ali releasing a vignette for the character on his social media last year. It was said once that within the company, some saw, when they saw it, the vignette on NXT television, they, quote, freaked out because Fox had previously expressed nervousness about him heading in that direction. The political angle on NXT television was dropped shortly after the segment aired, so possibly due to network television partners and the nervousness surrounding that character, there's possibility that Ali was let go for that as well. But there you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.